Yeah. Good morning, everyone. So yesterday we learned about few points related to our project. We created a simple interface for application. So in this React to do application, we implemented the concepts. Let's start this project. So you need to start API and the project. First, you need to start the API that you created every time. So what is that? This is node api.js. That is the API you need to start and your project. Once you start here, you have the interface. Already we created the interface. So in this, we are implementing one functionality and the functionality is a register. So we implemented one functionality that is register. So user can register. In that, already we saw how to collect the data and post the data. Now, after user registered, then we need to uh, create a login screen. Yesterday register is done. We have to create a login screen. So have user login. User will enter the user IDs and password. It should verify whether user ID password are matching. If user ID password is matching, then it should show his dashboard. So here, how to maintain the user's information, whether user logged in or not, how to know. So we can give until he sign out, his details we can provide. For that, we learned about cookies. So we have to use the cookies. What is the cookie library? We used a cookie library for our React project. I showed you about using cookies, working with the cookies. So we need to install npm. Install, what is it? React hyphen cookie. That is the cookie library because there are so many libraries and we need a cookie library. Which library we used? React cookie library, yeah? Right. So this is the React cookie library we use. So that's fine. So we will use that library here, React cookie and save. We need a cookie library to maintain user credentials until he sign out. Right. Okay, so it is done. We will design the login screen also. So same here, go to user login. In the user login, same styles we will add for this. These are the same styles we are adding. For form also, same effects we are adding. We'll keep everything simple. The form is also having the same. And in the data list, we will have a username, user ID. In register, we are using user ID. For user ID, we need a text box, input type text, and form control, and name as user ID. One more we need password. And here we need input type password. So here we are giving a class name as what? Form control. Name as password. Okay. And we have a button. So this button will have a class BTN warning. So this is having a W100 and we will keep as login. So another div. So class margin top 3. And here we will put a link. This link is nothing but it will link to register. And we will say new user. New user, then you have to register. New user register, something like this. This is the login screen we are having. That's the login screen you are having. So new user register and already have an account, then login. We are creating these two interface. So now how to implement this login? That means when user enters the user ID and password, it should verify in the database it is same matching or not, if that user available or not. And if it available, then login success and we should get the user dashboard. We'll get the user dashboard. In the user dashboard, he will see his appointments and he will see the options for adding appointments, deleting appointments and all those things. So what we need to do is we need to add. So we need to add here another component to do user dashboard dot tsx. So export function. So to do user dashboard. That is the dashboard we need to design. And I will just keep initially container fluid. Yeah. And here I will just keep a heading user dashboard. But actually this username will come dynamically. That means who logged in, his name will come dynamically. So we will keep that. But first we need to implement the login. That means when you enter user ID and password, I need to verify that user ID password is matching with the database. So what we need to do, how to get the users? Because already we have users related API which is going to get all the users. What is that users related API? http://127.001.3200 and the users. Here we have two users related information. So we need to get the user whose user ID is matching. And if it is matching, then verify his password. Password is also correct, then give into the dashboard. So what we need to do, first we need to collect the data. So here we need to create use constant formic is equal to use formic. And use formic, what are the initial values? Initial values we need two details, user ID string and password. Password is also string. And on submit we need to collect the user details. So and these user details we need to handle. On submit we need to collect the user and handle. That means user ID and password we need to do. So first what we need to define here is bind them on submit formic dot handle submit. And this have on change formic dot handle change. and here on change formic dot handle change. Okay. And make sure that button, to avoid warnings, button type as what? Submit. Okay. Now what should happen when user will click on this? First, we will implement the basic achievement. Then we will use the cookies also in this. So first one, verify the user ID and password. We need to get the user ID password. So Axios dot what? Get from http://127.001:3200/users. From here we can get the users. Dot then we need to configure. Okay. And here what we will do is we will use a callback function. This function will get a response. And what we need to do is we will create one. So suppose we say client, where client. What is the client? The person who logged in. How to get his details? Only that user ID details we need to get. That means what we have to do from the response data, because response data is an array of users, we will find. Find is a array query. So find item implies item dot user ID is matching with. So is matching with user ID is matching with user dot user ID is matching with user dot user ID. And it is any type. So we need to configure this item is what? It is showing some issue, any type. It is an any type, that's fine. What is the data type for that? Any. And it is a nullable type. So here, what's the issue? So it is an any type only. So I will make the parameter as any type. That's fine. Okay. Now this is the user details we are accessing. This is one user detail. That means if user ID is matching, get that particular user and store in which reference? Client. That means now client contains one user who is matching with that particular data. It contains that particular user. So we will log the client and we will see. Actually, it is going to return undefined if user ID is not matching. We have two results, undefined, another one, the user, right? Console.log. I will use the client. Okay. That means just we will first verify here. See, we have Sam Hyderabad, that is one user, and John NIT. These are users. So let's go to inspect. And in the console, I will enter the user ID, Sam underscore HYD. So some password and login. Then you see Sam related data will come. The matching record is accessing. And if that user is not present, then it is going to return undefined. So you need to write a condition. What is the condition? So you need to define a condition here. What is the condition? If client, that means if it is defined. If it is defined, then what should happen? We should verify his password. That means client dot what? Password. Password is matching with user dot password. What is user dot password? The password you entered in the form. The form password is matching with the password you found, right? If it is matching, then it should navigate to dashboard. It should navigate to dashboard. That means we will create let navigate is equal to use navigate. So dynamically how to navigate we know. So we are using navigate to slash user dashboard. We don't have a route for this. Make sure that you created a route for user dashboard. Where to create the route? In app.tsx. In app.tsx, we need a route path, and the route path is user dashboard. And what is the element? Element is, so to do user dashboard. So that is the component it should render. So this is what we need to do. Fine. That means if it is matching, it will get into that. If it is not matching, that means if password is not matching, we will keep an alert or some message anywhere you can define. Alert, what is that? Invalid password. And if here it is not matching, that means we will keep an alert. So user not found, something like this. Because that is related to user. This is related to the password. User not found and this. Okay. Now let's go and check the login here. So we are using the login. This is Sam. Suppose some password, then login. It should say user not found. That's okay. You Sam underscore HYD and login invalid password. That's also okay. What is his password? Sam@112. That is his password. Huh? Sam, capital letters. Huh? No. So Sam@112. If that is the password. And login, then it should go to dashboard. So now in the dashboard, what we need to do? We need to display his username. Who logged in? His dashboard. From there, we need a sign out so that he can sign out. And we need to design the dashboard. Let's create this now. So we will go into the dashboard. And here we need to carry his details. Who logged in? His dashboard. How to carry the details? So in the login screen, what we have to do? We need to create, in the login, we have to create constant. You know cookies. Remember the cookies? Cookies, we have set cookie. Another one is remove cookie. 3 options will be there. You practiced all those, right? So use cookies. Use cookies is the collection. And what is that? It is an array. In that, so we have a cookie name. What is the cookie name? User ID. That is the cookie name. So user ID is the cookie name. Okay. How do we store data into the cookie? So what we need to do when user password is also matching, then here we use what? Set cookie. Set cookie. So the cookie name, user ID. And what is the value? What is the value? Cookie value. Cookie value is what? So that is client dot user name. Or we can simply put user dot user ID. That is the cookie value. So that means we are creating a cookie and we are navigating. And what we have to do in our dashboard? In dashboard, we have to collect and display that. That means we need what? Constant cookies, set cookie, remove cookie, and is equal to what? Use cookies. And what is the cookie name? Cookie name is what? User ID. So what we have to do? We need to collect the cookie and display here. Whose dashboard we need to display? That means here I will use some deflex, justify content center. Okay. And here, this is the dashboard. Here we need to access what? Cookies. Cookies of cookie name. Cookie name is what? User ID. So his dashboard. We want to display his dashboard. And usually, I'll just keep this in a nav bar like. So in a nav bar like, we will design this part. And here we will keep this in a span. Okay, in another span, we can add another thing. We can have deflex justify content between. Okay, so this is a dashboard. Yeah, PG Lite. Okay, so this is the dashboard. So in the dashboard, it has to get the user who logged in, right? So, and I will keep this margin top 4, padding 2. Okay, and this will have a class H3. That means a little large letters we are keeping here. Okay, so we'll just keep this. And we need, so padding 2, margin 4, 3, something. That's just the dashboard we are keeping here. So, okay, this looks fine. And in this dashboard, we need to get that user information and display. Here later we will use a button, and this button will call as sign out. Class BTN and BTN danger, something like this. That is the sign out button we are having. Okay. The sign out button we have. Okay, just roughly I'm using. And why this is? So these two are kept in the design we are having. We'll use something. MS4. Okay. Now, who's the dashboard class name? Is equal to this MS4. Okay. Now, whose dashboard will be displayed here is that depends on the data. Okay. From where we have to come? User ID. So who will log in? Suppose Sam or John NIT John @123 password. So John underscore NIT John @123. That is the password we are using. And we say login, and login, it will get that user dashboard. That means who logged in, we have designed the dashboard. In this dashboard, we need to create all the interface. What is that interface? So this cookie will be there until user have logged in. So we need to create a sign out. Okay, where is the dashboard? Sign out click. So we need a function. Function is handle sign out. On sign out, what we need to do? Remove cookie. Which cookie to remove? User ID. After that, we need to navigate to login. So that means LET navigate is equal to use navigate. It should navigate to the login. It should navigate to login. So we will use navigate / what? Login. Okay, this should work when user clicks on sign out. That means when user clicks on sign out, we will perform that here. So that means on sign out, on click. So on click is what? Handle sign out. Handle sign out is the functionality to perform. So that is the detail we are having. Now sign out I given right side, right? Now when user clicks on sign out, it will get to the login. That means the cookie is deleted and go back to this login. So We created a registration form and we created an login form. So now what we need to do, once user goes to his dashboard, if already he is having some appointments, we need to display the appointments. So we need to provide option for adding appointment, removing appointment and all. So first, after user login in the dashboard, we need to design. So this is John underscore NIT, John@123. That is the user logs in. In this dashboard, we need to create the interface, right? So what is that interface? Let's go to the dashboard and here. So what we need to do? So here we need to create just like so register and all we are using. What we can do? So we will keep what is that is this I will remove. Then the dashboard is fine. Okay. And here we will create a section area. In this section area, we will try to display. Here we will try to display the appointments he is having, and we will put a div and with a button. So add appointment. So we are having class BI calendar date. So we have an add appointment BTN and BTN suppose info something. So we have an add appointment button. We have an add appointment button. So this is dark something. This is add appointment button. And when user clicks on add appointment, what we need to do? So when user clicks add appointment, a new appointment adding screen should come. It should display the appointment adding screen. So what we need to do? We need to design a screen for adding the appointment. So class name is text start. And it will be left side, right? So, and style height as 100 VH. Just we will keep a dashboard in this way. Actually, background, if I remove, then it will display in this way. I will just keep the transparency in the headings and all. Text light. That will be fine. That will be fine, right? So now when user clicks on add appointment, what we need to do? First here, if already have appointments, those will come. That means his appointments list will display below. What appointment he is having, they will display. But currently user don't have any appointment. So you John NIT don't have any appointment. So what should happen? Add appointment. Okay, let's implement this functionality. Now we have to add one more component. What is it? To do add appointment .tsx. So export function to do add appointment. Add appointment. So we need to return. So a div. Okay. Here we need to display a new option, add new appointment. We need to define add new appointment. You can do one more thing. You can show a pop-up. In the pop-up, we can design. We will use all the routing techniques, navigating and displaying and all. So here, add appointment, add new appointment. What are the details? We need to configure the details. This add new appointment will have same like a login and a register form. I will use the same approach here. So add appointment. Appointment. Okay. Okay. Now here I am using the same, and we are using the uniform classes everywhere. This is the form we are having. Okay. Now we will keep a form because appointments requires the form, and add appointment is the heading. Okay. And what should happen? It should navigate to the add appointment. From dashboard, it should go. So we have app.tsx. In app.tsx, one more route we need to add. What is that? So route path. What is the route path? Add appointment. And what is the element? Element it should render is to do. Add appointment is the option. Okay, this we need to render. So we need an appointment related option also ready, route ready. Now from dashboard, user should able to navigate. So this is not a button. We will make it as what? Link. Link to. Link to which one? Add appointment. It should link to that add appointment. So we will use a link and make sure that link is imported in the router DOM. In the router DOM, link is imported. Okay. That means it is a link. It will go to the add appointment option. So we will go to add appointment here. The form will be there. And here we will have another link. Okay, this is the link. And here back to dashboard. Back to dashboard. So this should navigate to which location? User dashboard. It should navigate to user dashboard. Okay. So that means now when I click on add appointment, then what will happen? It will get me add appointment. Back to dashboard because it is deflex. Make sure that both are in one div. Then back to dashboard will be here. This also I will keep inside this forma, right? That means it will have some back to dashboard. Back to dashboard, it will get back to the dashboard. And we have add appointment, it will get the appointment. And what is this add appointment? Add appointment is a form. So in that form, we need to add the details. Data list, data term, what is it? Appointment ID. Actually, appointment ID, you can put a counter. +1 increment, you can put a counter. Here we will use everything. I will not do. Some concepts I am leaving for you, like validations and all you put. I am just designing the complete CRUD operation. So is it required? Is it number? Is it date? All such validations you need to keep. You put the validations in that. And class as form control. And this is a number. So we are keeping this as number. And what is this? Here we are having name. Name is appointment underscore ID. Because in our database, it is the same key reference we are having. Okay, what else appointment is having? Title, appointment title. Input type is equal to what? Input type is text. Okay, class is form control, and this have a name. Name is title. Adding appointment is same like register. There is no special here. Another one is description. Description is what? So input type is equal to, not input type, we will put a text area. You know, text area. Rows is 4. So calls is how much? That's also 40. Like this, we are adding. Text area, rows and columns. Acha, it is a number. So it is expecting a number. Rows 4 and calls is what? 40. Because we are using TypeScript, it is strictly expecting only number. Now, what is the name? Name is what? Description. That means you have appointment ID, title, and description. Description is also there now. Next, what? So we need date, appointment date. So we have date. And we will keep input type as what? Date. Input type date. So name is date and the class as form control. And here also I'm giving the class as form control. So this is adding appointment and we will keep a button here. So class BTN. So primary and add. So this have a text called add. So this is the add appointment related option. This we will keep in a div. Margin top 2. Okay, this is adding appointment. Now what is the concept? So go to dashboard. You want to add appointment, click on add appointment. It will get this form. In this appointment ID, title, description, date, and add. So we need to collect all the data and post. Post to which API method? So in API, we created an API method for posting data into appointment. What is that? We have appointment. Add appointment is the API method. It is expecting ID, title, description, date, user ID is there. But how we will send user ID? User ID from cookie. Cookie because cookie have that user who logged in. His ID should be sent. So from cookie, we will send the user ID. So user ID, he don't need to type. Who logged in? His user ID. This appointment will be stored under the reference of that particular user ID. That is important. So what we will do, add appointment is the option. So let's go. And here we need to write the logic. So make sure this button type is what? Submit. And here we need a form for handling all this data. So we are configuring a constant formic is equal to use formic. So, and here we need initial values. What are the initial values? Appointment ID underscore ID. It's a number. So, and we have title. Title is a string. We are having description. Description is also a string. And we are having date. Date is what type? Initially it is a string. Later internally it will be converted into date. Why? Because whatever you take from a HTML element, it is a date format, string format. Okay, on submit, what we need to do? On submit, collect the appointment details. And what we need to do? Those appointment details we need to send it to the database. So Axios dot which method? Post. Post to which location? HTTP colon 127.001.3200 slash add appointment and it is expecting data. Data is what? Appointment. That is the appointment. Dot then. That means once it is successful, what should happen? If it is successful, we need to just on then what we need to do? Alert. So alert we will keep as appointment added successfully. This is the message. After that, it should navigate. So we will create let navigate is equal to use navigate. It should navigate to which place? It should navigate to / dashboard user dashboard so that it can show is appointment added successfully or not. User dashboard. Okay, now in user dashboard, we need to show appointments. We are not doing that. So that means we are adding the appointment, and now in the dashboard, we need to display the appointment. So first, one more thing here we need. What is that? User ID. User ID is a string. Now, actually, this is not a string. This is coming from cookies. That means what we have to do here, we need to configure. What is it? Constant cookies. Cookies is equal to set cookie and remove cookie is equal to use cookies. And what is the cookie ID? Cookie ID is what? User ID. That means here the user ID comes from cookies. Cookies of which one? User ID. We are initializing the user ID because this appointment belongs to whom? That is to be stored in the database. Okay. Now let's check. So we need to bind all these things. So on submit is formic dot handle submit. Handle submit. Okay. This is on change. Formic dot so handle change. Same for the text area and the date. All of them are doing the same. Okay, now let's go and here we will refresh. Okay, I'm adding appointment ID 1, title some friend birthday, some description. Suppose so party at so some friend house, something like this, and we say date. I selected some date and click on add. And when I click on add, appointment added successfully, then okay, it will go here. Here we need to show. We are not showing, we are not displaying the appointment, but let's check the API. What is the API? Appointments is the API related to that user. Appointments is expecting user ID. Who is that user? John underscore what NID. This user related any appointments are there, it will display. You can see the appointment is there. That means the appointment is stored under that name. Then it is correctly filtering and getting the appointment of that particular user. That means based on user, we need to get the appointments and display his appointments. All appointments of all users are stored in one place. In one collection, we are storing all appointments. But when user logs in, only his appointments will be collected and displayed. For that, we already done a API filter there. So what we need to do now? So we need to implement here. We need to implement the logic. In the dashboard, we need to show the appointments. So that means what we will do? In the dashboard, user dashboard, we need to collect the appointments and display the appointments. So we will create here a constant. This is appointments. So set appointments. Set appointments is equal to use state, and it uses a contract. What is that contract? It uses an appointment contract. So we have an appointment contract. We have to define an appointment contract. So that means it is expecting an array of all those appointments. It is an appointment contract, and it is what type? Array. That means the multiple appointments of that particular are coming. Here we need to configure that. Right? We need to collect. Actually, what we done? So when we are collecting the user's details, when you are configuring here, we are not using any users related reference. Directly user data is coming. We are not storing anywhere. If we are storing anywhere, then we need to just use this one. That means we need to use the contract. Already we created contracts in the last session. For users, one contract, appointments, another contract we created. Because state is generic, so we need to mention that. And what type? Array type data is coming. Okay, now what should happen? So we will use effect. Use effect, that means at the time of mounting. At the time of mounting, we need to collect all the appointments of that particular user. Appointments of that particular user. So Axios dot what? Get. Axios get. And here the method is http colon double slash 127001 and 3200 slash appointments slash user ID. User ID is coming from where? Cookies. Cookies of what? User ID. That means it will get the appointments of that particular user who logged in. And what we need to do then? Load these appointments. So response, we need to get that, and set appointments is equal to, what is it? Response dot what? Data. Whatever data you collected, you stored that. Now what we need to do? Appointments, we need to present. That means inside this, below this, I will keep another div. In this div, I need to show all the appointments. So we will use appointments dot what? Appointments. What is the appointment I given? I will use appointments. Okay. So we need to access appointments dot what? Map. And you know why question mark, right? It is nullable. We haven't initialized that. So we need to read. What is it? We need to read every appointment. And for every appointment, we need to create. We will create an div. And for every appointment, we will create a div. This div will have a class name. So that is alert. So alert success something. We will give that alert. And here we'll have a key. Key is appointment dot appointment ID. We can access that appointment ID. And here we need to display the appointment title. So appointment dot title. We need to display the title. And next we need the description here. So what is it? Appointment description. Appointment description we should display. And in the another div, we need to display the date. Appointment date we need to show here. That means class name. So BI calendar. So we are using calendar date, and appointment date we need to display. Appointment dot what? Date. So appointment dot date we need to get. Date is not there. In the contract, what is the problem in the contract? Let's go to the contracts, appointment contract. Date is there. So then what is problem here? Date is not assignable to React node. Why? Acha, so we will use toString, right? So we will convert toString. We haven't used moment, right? What you do? You use moment. You can install moment and you know how to format the date. As of now, plain string I am converting. Because we need a moment library to present dates. We know already that. Okay. And you can see, so the appointment of that particular user will come. That means what appointment he is having. So W50 looks fine and margin X looks okay. This is the appointment we are having, right? Margin Y. Okay. This is the appointment he is having. That is the appointment he is having. That means user can add the appointment and his appointment will come. Remember when I will sign out, I will log in as another user. Who is another user? Sam underscore HYD, Sam at the net, 112. I think that is the password, right? And I say login, then Sam logs in, but he don't have any appointment. He don't have any appointment. So I'll sign out. Okay, we will sign in as what? John NIT and John at the net what? 123. Then he have appointments. That means every user have his own individual appointments we are configuring. Now another appointment you can add, right? Now we must able to edit this appointment, delete the appointment. Two more functionalities are there to implement for this. Add appointment, one more appointment you can add. So add appointment. So that is some two. Suppose this is like a meeting with client. So suppose some attend meeting. So at 5 p.m. something like this we are giving. And we selected some date we are defining and click on add. Then add appointment successfully. Now we have two appointments for that user. Appointments are there for that user. Now we need every appointment requires below. Every appointment requires a div. So let's keep a div here. Yeah. In this div, we have a class margin top 2. And here we are adding a button. This is class BI and BI trash. And this is like delete, remove. And another button is there. This is BTN and BTN danger. ME2. Okay. Here we are having another one class BI pen fill. Okay, BTN and BTN warning. BTN warning. And this I will give as edit. Okay. Now we have two buttons here. For every appointment, we have two options. That means on this, remove, that appointment must be deleted. And on this edit, this appointment should come in edit mode. That means it should display in edit mode. In edit mode, we have to modify the details and update the details. Now that is the little complex thing. So what we need to do on edit click, how we can get this particular appointment details. We don't have an API designed for that. What is the API? We need one API. I think we created have we created API to get appointment based on ID? We haven't created we created appointment based on user ID, but we don't have an appointment based on ID, right? We need to get the appointment based on ID. So we need an appointment based on ID. Delete is simple. In one attempt, we can achieve the delete option. Delete is simple, nothing complex. What is delete? That means we need to add one more API method. What is that? Get the appointment based on ID so that we can open that appointment and display in edit mode so that they can do the modifications. Here, so many challenges will be there. I will tell you. Because when you are using dates, you don't use moment, then you have a problem in displaying the dates and all, you will have a problem. It's okay, we can manage. We will use one more option. This is appointment based on user ID. I will use another one. What we have to do is, I will say, get appointment. Get appointment based on ID. ID we will give. This is another one. So it should get, what is it? It should get based on ID. That means we have to use an ID. Find appointment ID is matching with matching with, so parse int and request dot params dot id. It is matching with id. That is what we need to do. So one additional API method, get appointment based on id. Delete appointment is simple. Delete appointment is what? Delete appointment is having delete appointment and its id. So what we will do now, so we will go and make sure that we are running this API one more time. So this server started, stop, and make sure that we are running the API one more time because we made changes in the API. Okay, now what is the concept of this? So now when user clicks on delete, that appointment must be removed. We can remove here itself, or we can take to another screen and we can ask, are you sure you want to remove? If they say yes, then they will be removed. Otherwise, it will not. Directly we can remove here also. How do we directly remove here? So directly how we can remove here, when user is clicking on this, that means what it should do. So remove and edit buttons, we will implement the functionality. So let's go to our dashboard. In the dashboard, on this button click, edit button click, we need to navigate to edit appointment screen. So we will add a new component. What is it? To do edit appointment. Edit appointment dot what? TSX. So export function to do edit appointment and return. So a div. Okay, we have a form inside this. And here we have edit appointment. We have the option edit appointment. And here we have a data list. And in the data term, we need all the details. Temporarily, I'm using, actually appointment ID is not required. We can hide this. Just for a clarity's sake, to collect and display that one, I will show here. Another one is what? Title. So input type is text. So another one is description. Description is here text area. Okay. Another one is date. This is date. This date is one small challenging here. I will show you. So date, we can make text type or we will make a date. And here we need a button. What is the button? Save. We need a button save. And class BTN and BTN, some success. Something like this we are defining. And this is having same like login, all these options. That is the class edit appointment. And this is the form class. I'm just using the same classes. Okay. Now we need an route for this edit appointment. So we have app.tsx. So route path is having edit appointment. Now here, this edit appointment is expecting /:ID. That means it should get the ID, because from dashboard we will pass an ID. Only that ID related appointment it should load and display in the form. The form should display only the appointment which is matching with that ID. So what is the element? Element is to to do edit appointment. That is the ID we are configuring. This is the ID we are defining. Now, once we done this, here, how we can configure these appointments. This is the appointment is there. We are defining that. Now, whenever you access edit appointment, we need to pass an ID into this. So let's go to the option now. When user clicks to do, so we will go to the dashboard. We'll go to the dashboard. In the dashboard, now this is not a button. Now this we will make it as what? Link. We will make this as a link. We will make this as a link. And what this link have to do? Link have to navigate. I will put a dynamic here. So binding expression, dynamic. It has to navigate to slash. Slash is what? Edit appointment. It is expecting ID. Which appointment ID? The current appointment ID. Appointment.appointment ID. We need to pass the current appointment ID into that. That means it will get to edit appointment, and edit appointment is a route which is expecting ID of appointment. We are passing the ID of that particular appointment. So then it should navigate to edit appointment. So when I click on edit of any appointment, it should get me to that data. That means here I will go to the edit appointment option. And here I will put a link. This link will have like cancel. Cancel means it should link to slash user dashboard. It should link to user dashboard. So BTN and BTN danger. And MS2. Okay. Now there is a cancel option also here. When I click cancel, it will go back here to the dashboard. But now the key point is when I click on edit, the appointment ID is coming. That's perfectly coming. Now what we need to do? We need to edit means that appointment ID is coming. We need to bring this ID related details and display the data here. That means what we need to do? Edit appointment requires class form control. I will use class form control. So this is a number, and this is having class form control. Okay, and here also class form. Okay, this is the form we are having. Now what we need to do? When the edit appointment loads, we need to collect that appointment detail and load. So that means we need to get the appointment based on ID. Already there is an API method created for that. So what we are expecting, constant. So appointments, set appointments is equal to use state. It is appointment contract. And actually I given two array. Two array means even one record also written like an array. So, okay. Then what we will do here? We need to get the another one. We need to get the params. So we have to use what? Use params. By using use params, you can get the parameter, route parameters. How to collect the route parameters, we already learned in routing. Now what we need to do? So we need to use effect. That means at the time of mounting, what to do? At the time of mounting, get the data. Axios dot get. Get from which location? So http://127.001.3200/get appointment. We created just now get appointment API. Slash it is expecting ID. And what is the ID? ID will come from params. Params is an object, na? How to use the params? So this is expecting use params. params dot, what is it? ID. We are using that ID. Now what it is going to do is it is collecting the parameter. So that is the ID we are accessing. So let's check this. Is params.id, is it correctly coming or not? So refresh. So in the console, ID is okay, working fine, right? So now that params ID, we are accessing that dot then. If it is successful, then response, what we need to do? Set appointments into that response dot what data we have to collect. But actually only one appointment is coming. So, but in API, what we done is we used a two array method. Two array method means even one, it will return like an array. That means obviously one record, it is at index number 0. That means what we will do? We need to assign that here. So we need to assign that here. How we can assign? So value. Value is appointments of 0 dot. What is that? Appointment ID. We are accessing that appointment ID and displaying here. That means that is the index number. And what is it? Appointment ID not there. This is the value. Acha, value we will not do like this. We will use formic directly because we need to collect the data and bind the data. So what we will do? We are accessing the data and we will use a constant. What is it? Formic. In the formic is equal to use formic. What are the initial values? Remember, initial values will be same like what you have done for registration. That means add appointment is using the same thing we will copy here. These are all the initial values we are using. These are all the initial values same. Whatever the initial values are there, we are configuring. And after that on submit. On submit, so we need to collect the data. We will collect the data later. So here the user ID related cookies also we need. So constant what? Cookies, set cookie and remove cookie is equal to use cookies and the cookie is user ID. That is the cookie. We are accessing the cookies here. Now, what is the appointment ID? Appointment ID is the ID that you entered. That means you collected. That means I am using appointments of 0. Appointments of 0 dot what? Appointment ID. Appointment ID we are using. Now it is showing that appointments on track. Why it is displaying this? Possibly undefined. So we will keep this, but appointments index number. Acha, we will do one thing. We will define a hard-coded array. Now it is fine, okay? Because it is expecting undefined, right, as value. So array is nothing but it indicates that we are not collecting one, we are collecting multiple, right? And okay, now this is appointment ID. And we need to bind this. What is this? Appointments of 0 dot what? Title. This is appointments of 0 dot what? Description. Date. here problem will come. I will tell you what is the problem. Initially, we will use appointments of 0.date. And here cookies that user ID will come.
Meeting host.
Okay. Where to display these details inside this? That means here we need what? On submit, formic dot handle submit. And where to display this? So name. So name is same like register form appointment underscore ID. And here we need to bind. What is the value? Value is coming from formic dot values. So values dot appointment ID. That is the formic value. From formic, we are collecting the value and displaying it. That means that is the first appointment detail we are having. And some problem is there, appointment ID. Where is that issue in the here itself we are having, I think, problem. So this is expecting appointment ID. It is a number. Then we are having title. It is a string. Another one. Description. It is a string. And the date. It is an date type. Initially, I'll keep it as a string. This is used as a string here. And one more is user ID. Now, user ID is a string. So not assignable to date type. So here I will use as a date constructor. Say new date constructor. Fine. Now this appointment ID, that is fine. Okay. Now bind the appointment ID here. What we need to do? Value formic dot values dot appointment ID. So that appointment ID should come here. So here instead of values, initially it is 0 actual. We will make this as appointment ID. That means it need to get that. Okay, now it is fine. Okay. So we are accessing the appointment and we are defining the value. Now, without on change is okay because we haven't written on change event, right? So what we need to define on change. On change is equal to what? Formic dot handle change. Handle change. That's fine. That means handle change event is defined for that. That's okay. Now the appointment title should display here. So same. What is the name? Name is title and on change is formic dot handle change and value. Value is coming from appointments of 0 dot what? Title. It should get the title and display the title. That means the appointment title should come and display here. Right? It is display. Okay. Now what else you need here? So that is the title. Next, description also should come. What is the issue in date? I will show you. So text area will have a name. What is it? Description. And on change is what? Formic dot handle change. And value is appointments of 0 dot description. That is the description we are having. Okay. Now the description also will come here. Now the date have problem. Why date have problem? Because date, suppose I am using name date. On change is same, formic dot handle change. But value, what is problem with value is this appointments of 0 dot date. Actually, it is a date format. So we need to convert into what? Dot what? To string we need to convert. But in that string also we have a problem. What is the problem is, in that string it is going to return the time value also. It's a lengthy string. And actually date control cannot show the time. Then what we need to do? That means this date value will not be displayed properly. This date value will not be displayed. All will come. Date is unable to display because you see it is going to show the date like this. Now what we need to do is, because we are not using moment, we can do one thing, cut this part and display only this. How do you cut that part? After T, up to T you have to get. Then what you can do? Dot what? Slice. Slice from 0 to what? Slice from 0 to what? So appointments of 0. So dot what? Date dot to string. To string I will use dot what? Index of which one? Index of the character T. Index of the character T. That means it will slice up to that index of character T. Then date will come. Otherwise issue will be there, right? That's one small logic we need to implement here, right? So that because it is showing both date and time related options, then it is there. So I click on cancel. Now it will go into this and I click on edit. Then this details will come. The detail will come. Now what we need to do? We should able to modify these details and update the details. That means we should able to change. And you see that here initially the changing of values are not allowed. Even I am trying to change, it is unable to change. It is unable to change. So why? Because here what we are doing, we are directly using these initialized values there. These initialized values are being used. What else values we are doing here? This also initialized values we are doing. Now, instead of using these initialized values, for example, now what I am doing here, I am using formic. Formic dot what? Values. Values dot what? Appointment ID. I am using formic values appointment ID. And you see the value is not there. So if I use that index reference, then it is fine. If I am using index reference, that is fine. But whatever the values initialized, it is unable to change. Then what to do? If you have observed the formic related option, I given you one concept. What is that concept? Enable reinitialize. You need to set it to true. Because initialization of values, I given that point in the formic concept. When we learnt about formic, we have an attribute there, enable reinitialize. Why? Because the values that you configured, they are initialized. And once they are initialized, they are not allowed to modify. Now we need to allow to modify. That means we have to make sure that we are using enable reinitialize as true. One more work we have to do. What is that? That means now here I am not setting these values. That means I am not configuring these values. That means this ID is 0. So this is what? String. So this is also string. That means we are not initializing those values. We are setting that initialization to normal. And this is cookies. Now you can see here the values that you are collecting, those values are still present, right? And the modification is still not allowed. Now what we need to do is we need to implement another technique inside it. Formic have an option of resetting the values that you have initialized. After enable reinitialize as true, what we have to do is we have to allow the changes in the formic and collect the data. And after collecting the data, how you submit the data, we need one more option to do here. What we have to do, collect the values. Values is nothing but related to whom? Appointment. We need to send these appointment details to another location. Where we have to send appointment details? We need to use put operation, right? What is that put operation? Axios dot what? Put. Axios dot put. We need to use Axios dot put. So what is the put expecting? So it is using the URL http://127.001 and 3200. And what is that? We have edit appointment. We have edit appointment. Yeah. Okay. So we have edit appointment. Edit appointment is expecting ID. ID what? We have to collect the current ID. Current ID from where you can collect? Two locations are there. From parameters you can collect. What is it? Params dot what? ID. And what is the data you need to submit? That appointment data we need to submit. After defining the appointment data, what is it? We have to use then. Then what? We have another option. What is it? Response. Not response required. Directly we can put a callback function. And what this function will do? Alert. It will say appointment edited successfully. Successfully appointment edited. After that, we need to navigate. So navigate is not defined now. All these are mandatory to configure let what? Navigate is equal to use navigate. So we should navigate. So we will use in navigate. Navigate to which path? Slash. What is it? User dashboard. That's what we need to do. That's the option we need to implement. One more work is there. That is enabling, reinitializing and modifying, allowing and delete. That we'll see tomorrow. Right? Those two functionalities we will implement. There are few minutes of time we need to invest in that to learn one new concept. And if you done that, then we will learn how we can test and deploy these application on cloud. That means we are going to learn testing and deployment of application on cloud. That we'll see in next session. Tomorrow we'll continue that. Okay. Right.